Okay, so this workout is, it's a short workout, it's challenging, it demands quite a bit of flexibility and abdominal strength, but it gives you just enough of what you need if you haven't got a lot of time to work out and you want to feel that you've worked your abdominals, but you also want to feel like you've had that nice little bit of stretch in your workout. It's definitely a workout that you do need to have had a bit of Pilates experience to do it there. So if that's you, definitely join in with me. So you're going to roll down and we're going to find that lovely spinal alignment as always. I always like to spend the first few moments of a workout just assessing where my alignment is, because each day is different from the next. So just checking in with the feet in line with the sit bones, the three bones at the front of the pelvis nice and level, ribs heavy on the mat, and I gaze forwards and just trying to open up through the chest. And then from here we're going to focus on breathing, so just lateral thoracic breathing, put your hands on your ribs initially and just trying to feel that on your in-breath your ribs really expand out to the side walls and into your hands, and then on the out-breath completely emptying the air out of your lungs, feeling how the rib cage narrows and draws away from your hands. So every inhalation we create extension in the spine, we create space between the vertebrae, and it's on that out breath where we naturally draw the navel into the spine, engaging those deep abdominals. So try and have that conscious awareness of your deep abdominals on that next out breath. So taking that breath in, and then on the out breath, feel that you're gently pulling up on the pelvic floor, drawing your navel into your spine, and then try and maintain that connection on your next inhalation. So staying with the breath, but we're going to start to make the breath longer now. I want you to breathe in for 2, 3, 4, 5, and then breathe out for 2, 3, 4, 5. So your inhalation is 5 of your own counts, and then your out breath is 5 of your own counts. So we call this breathing pattern the 100 breath pattern, because the theory is you're breathing in for 5 counts, out for 5 counts, 10 times, which equals 100, hence its name, the 100 breath pattern. So the purpose of this breathing pattern is to really flood our muscles with oxygen. So oxygen is your muscles' energy supply, and then forcefully exhaling, and we find our abdominals, our deep abdominals. So just spend a few moments getting familiar with this breathing pattern, because we're going to challenge this breathing pattern in one of our exercises. So breathing in, feeling that expansion, and then see if you can really empty the air out of your lungs, feeling how your waistband is narrowing, the pelvic floor is narrowing, and then just one more here. And making sure those ribs widen into that mat, and then on the out breath, your ribs deepen into the mat. And then we're going to extend those legs out, which takes quite a lot of abdominal control, because you've got to make sure that you're not allowing the weight of your legs to arch your back. So think of those thigh bones pulling upwards into the hip sockets, and feel that you subtly draw that pubic bone up towards your belly button. So you feel the control the abdominals have of that lower spine. So from here, on the inhalation, you're going to reach your arms up, deepening the ribs into the mat. On your out breath, you're going to bring your arms back down to the mat again. So I'm using every in-breath to find that stretch from my elbows into my waist, to widen that back rib cage into the floor. And I'm using my out breath to deepen the rib cage into the floor. So as I bring my arms down to the mat, I'm thinking of trying to make that rib to hip connection, so the pubic bone drawing up, the ribs sliding down towards the hips. Now on your next out breath, we're going to add that spine curl, so chin nods, ribs drop down, lift the head and chest up, and then using that in-breath to roll down, head comes down last, and when those arms reach overhead, you're going to make sure you're not losing those abdominals, so keeping those ribs anchored. So again, using that out breath to find those deep abdominals, and then rolling down bone by bone. So we're really focusing, guys, on stretching the upper back forwards, but keeping the legs connected to the body and the rib to hip connection. Now if you can challenge this a little bit more, I want you to use that next out breath as you curl the upper body off the mat, pull the thigh bones up to the point where that action hovers the feet a fraction off the floor, and it is just a fraction off the floor. The lower the legs are to the floor, the more weight you're going to be putting through that torso, which really challenges the abdominals to hold, really pulling that belly button in. So we're just doing this one more time just to check that we're able to support the weight of the two legs with the abdominals, so there's no pulling into the spine. If it doesn't feel kind to your spine, keep the legs down and stay with the upper body action. On that next one, as you curl up, you're going to hover one leg off the floor and you're going to breathe in for 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch legs for 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping that rhythm going, really trying to stabilise through the upper spine, drawing that pubic bone up, drawing that navel in. So we're keeping that pelvis stable, and you can see that, making sure that you're still thinking about expansion through the rib cage, using that 100 breath pattern with this exercise. So it's just a nice way to use that breath to challenge stability of the spine. Now I always lose count of how many sets I'm doing, but the aim here would be to do this for 100 counts. So if you're better at counting than me, make sure you've done your 100. Top foot finds the floor, and then have that full body stretch because you've earned it. It feels really nice when you're down on that mat. But we're going to transition to your roll up, so arms reach up, and then you're going to curl the upper body off the floor and stretch all the way forwards now towards your feet, pulling the waist backwards, and then slowly rolling downwards, keeping the shoulders relaxed, trying to come down vertebra by vertebra. Challenging this next one, so as I come up now, I'm going to try and keep my arms as level with my ears as I can, and you can hear in my voice that I've made the effort in the abdominals greater. So the abs have to fight harder to bring the spine forward when the arms are level with the ears, because we've now got more weight through the spine, so it makes it more challenging in the two directions. So if it feels better for your body to reach the arms forwards first, allow that to happen. Sometimes it's nice just to make your workouts feel good, but I'm going for that burn with this one. So we're going to change what we ask the body to do next time we come down to the floor. So allow the arms to just rest now on the mat. Widen those collarbones and press into the arms. So like you practiced with that first exercise, pull your thigh bones upwards into the hip sockets, draw the pubic bone up, and feel that the lift of your legs comes from your abdominals. And then to lift the spine, you're going to press down into your arms, tip your pelvis back, and then lift the legs up and over. When I'm up in the air, I'm thinking of drawing my pubic bone up to my belly button and the sitting bones reaching to the ceiling. The weight is in the shoulders. Whoops, I've just caught my strap. You're going to hinge your legs from the hips, flex your feet, separate those legs a little bit wider, and then slowly roll down, fighting to keep the backs of the shoulders down on the mat here. And then lowering your legs to your point of control. So if you assessed this earlier, you know you can go down to the floor. We're going to do that again. So hinge to lift. You're going to drive from the abdominals and the shoulder extensors by doing a backwards tilt of your pelvis and pushing into your arms. Really curl that pelvis under at the top, weights on the shoulders. Now if you want to do this for a nice stretch, bring your legs as close to your chest as you can. And the closer the legs are to your torso, the more stretch you're going to get through the back of that body. So stretching the hamstrings and your back. Now if you want the challenge of really strengthening those abdominals when you do this, you're going to keep your legs away from you. So feel that the abs have to work harder now to lower the spine when those legs are away from you. And then bring those legs together, bending them in. So coming onto your side, and then just lining yourself up in a straight line. So just check that when you look down, you can just about see the tips of your toes. If you need a little bit of help with your balance, bring your legs just a little bit forwards, but make sure that your hips stay on the same line as your shoulders. So you choose where you need your body to be. Bottom elbow, try and stretch it away from your bottom shoulder. So you're trying to make that bottom armpit open up and stretch a little bit longer, shoulders staying down away from the ear, and then interlock your top hand behind your head. I want you to push down into that bottom elbow, draw the armpit down into your waist and feel that you're lifting the bottom waist a little bit off the floor. And then you're going to lift that top leg up and then bring the leg forwards and then bring the leg back. So trying to only go, guys, where you can keep that pelvis still and stable. So when the leg comes forward, you're not allowing your spine to round. When the leg goes back, you're not arching. We can add the sniff, sniff breath pattern. So you breathe in, out. And the quicker you move your leg, that's going to make the torso have to react quicker and harder. So the faster we make our leg move, the more control it takes in the torso to stabilise the spine. Pushing your bottom leg down, lifting your ribs up, trying to stay stable and release. So doing that on the other side. So finding that straight line first. So sometimes it's nice to work on range of motion, and because I really challenged my balance a lot on my last one, I don't feel I got my leg as far back as I wanted to open up through the front of the hip. So I'm allowing my legs to come a little bit more forward, shoulders, hips on the same line, trying to stretch that bottom elbow further away. So I'm really opening up for the armpit. Shoulder is down, interlock the hands, find the lift. So that's a bit like doing a side plank. And then you're going to lift the leg, just test the waters. How far forwards, how far backwards can you move without losing your control? So by keeping that spinal alignment, we're making this an abdominal exercise as well as a hip and leg exercise. When the leg moves forwards, I'm working on stretching the back of my thigh. When the leg goes back, I'm working on stretching the front of the hip. So I'm really trying to open up here, and that's really challenging my abs to stabilise my spine. And then we can add that breath pattern. So I'm moving a little quicker. The muscles of the torso have to react harder and faster. So I'm really working in my core to maintain that position. Pushing that bottom leg down helps. So just bringing those knees in, because that was work for the top hip as well. So rolling onto your belly. So just trying to bring some extension through the spine now, countering some of that flexion work that we did earlier. So shoulders lengthening down away from the ears. And again, we want to feel the thigh bones reach out of the hip sockets. We want to feel the stability of the pelvis is coming from your abdominals, not by really squeezing these bum muscles. You're going to feel a little bit of activity in the glutes, but roughly where the legs meet the pelvis. So it was not the same as squeezing your bum cheeks like mad. So the shoulders lengthening away from the ears, hover your head, and then reach your chest bone forwards to the front edge of the mat and upwards to where the wall meets the ceiling. So you're creating a back bend in your upper spine, and then bringing your chest bone down, bringing your forehead down. So your range of motion is as big or as small as your last rib stays on the mat. So you're isolating this movement to the rib cage part of the spine. The higher you lift your upper back, the more control it takes in your abdominals to stabilise your lower back. So as you pull the chest forwards and upwards, feel that you're drawing your pubic bone upwards towards your belly button as you do this. So I'm thinking of stabilising my neck, stabilising my pelvis, so I optimise movement through the back of a rib cage. Now, the back of a rib cage is generally the part of the spine that lacks the ability to do this. So we have to keep working on it. This is a movement that we lose as the spine ages. So keeping the forehead down on the floor, and you can stack your hands here, keeping those shoulders relaxed. All we want you to do is bend your knees and bring your heels towards your bottom. And then extend those knees. So it's like you're doing a bit of a hamstring curl here, really feeling the backs of those legs. If this doesn't feel kind to your knees, choose a range of motion that does. I want you to focus, guys, on that stability through the lower back when you do this. So the action of bending those knees creates length through the front of the thighs. So we're stretching through the quads every time bend those knees. See, if you're really tight through the front of the thighs, that can cause some people to sink into their lower back. So I want you to pay attention to what is happening in the lower spine, maintaining that abdominal control here, and just see how close you can get your heels to your bottom. We're going to revisit that shortly. Arms coming beside your body for dart. So head is hovering, you're going to lift the back of the shoulders up to the ceiling, and then the hands off the mat. And then see if you can find that swan, that extension through the upper back here. And then releasing back down. Okay, so as I release back down, just allow my palms to face the ceiling. Lift the back of the shoulders. Reach the chest forwards and upwards. And keep that stability through the lower back. Now, if you can challenge this, we're going to add the knee bend. So as you bring your feet towards your bottom, it's as though you're trying to touch the heels of your feet with your fingertips. Can you achieve that? And then slowly coming back down. Okay, so the easy bit is to bring your feet to your bum and reach your arms back. The hard bit is the control it takes in your abdominals to stabilise that lower spine. So this is a preparation I like to use for rocking. We're not going to go into that today, but if you can, you're going to hold the lift and you're going to hold the tops of your feet. Now I want you to press your feet into your hands and see if you can lift your thighs off the floor and see if you can use that to lift your chest higher and then release back down. So we're going to do about 2 more times. You can let those shoulders drop. Make sure you're looking after that lower back. So you press your feet into your hands. You start to reach your chest forwards and up. So extend from the upper back, lifting those knees if that's available to you. Stretch your chest. And then coming back down. Just one more, guys, if you've got it. So this is a lot of work for the back extensors, a lot of work for those knee extensors and the hip extensors. So lifting, lifting, lifting. And then coming back down. And then pushing back. Stretching out. And we're going to finish off with a little bit of rotation. So in this position, I like to sit with my legs in diamond and just reassessing where my pelvis is, so making sure that you're upright on top of the sitting bones, the spine is nice and long. And you're just going to reach one arm up to the ceiling and just feel that as the elbow stretches up, the hip is reaching down. Take the side bend and then turn your chest bone to face your thigh bone. Adding that rotation. Untwist back into your side bend, thinking of your eye gaze going up to the ceiling, that bottom shoulder relaxing and then lifting the spine up. We'll do that on the other side. So stretching, going over to the side, shoulder relaxed. Keep the oppositional reach between the hip and the elbow. Keep thinking of that on the twist and pushing into that supporting arm, the hand that's on the floor, just to traction my rotation a little bit. So see if you can twist a little bit more through that body and then untwist and then coming up. So I hope that met your needs for the day. Feel the abs, feel that flexibility. Thanks a lot, everybody.